Hey guys, it's President's Trophy, the most important trophy of them all, and we will be doing predictions for next season. I know this is going to be tough as not all RFAs are signed right now, certain teams are not at where they're going to be, but I'm going to do my best and hopefully not get people triggered like I have anyone that's going to get triggered. So, I'm not going to explain everything because that would take a year and a half, so I'm going to write down just the 5 or the 4 bottom teams in each division. Then I will explain the top 3, so I will write these down. There are my bottom 5 teams in Pacific, and now it's time to explain the top 3. Number 3, I have the Calgary Flames. I think they improved a lot from last year. Last year they were in this slot, and this year they're in that slot. I think the addition of Hamonic is huge to their defensive core. Their offense still has a little weak stuff, but if you have a great D core, see how Mike Smith does. This team could be either down here where LA is, or maybe up there, who knows. But I'm going in the middle right now. Number 2, in my opinion, the Edmonton Oilers. People are like, why is Edmonton not number 1? Let me get to that. Edmonton's still a great team. I'm assuming they re-signed Draisaitl, not Draisaitl. I'm assuming they re-signed Draisaitl. They still have a very deep team. That defensive core is still meh. Andre Sekera is out for a very long time to start the season. That's going to hurt where they're at in the standings. It's not going to hurt them at all during the postseason because he'll be back. But right now, it hurts them. And at number 1, you guys might know what it is. The Ducks. The Ducks always seem to win the Pacific no matter how bad their team is, no matter how injured they are. I forgot in 2015, 2016, this team started off 2-6-1 or something. I was like, oh, this team's going to suck. They had like the best record the rest of the NHL season, and they ended up there. Of course, they lost to Nashville in the first round, but they still had a great season. So now time on to move to the Central. I know I'm not doing that much explaining, but I don't want this video to be 5 days long. So we'll do the same thing here, then explain the top 3. So there we go. Now it's the time to explain the top 3. And number 3, and the St. Louis Blues. I think they're going to stay where they were. I think losing Jori Lehtera is pretty good for them because his captain was bad. But they gained Braden Shen, and Braden Shen's a hell of a player. But I just think the 2 teams ahead of them improved too much or are already better than them. And that's why I have them at number 3. Number 2, I have the Dallas Stars. This team made heaves and jumps this offseason, if you know what I mean. Probably not. But Mark Mathon, you got Mark Mathon, Radulov, Bishop. Hopefully Janmark is healthy. He could be a very good player for them. And, I mean, they're not going to do much worse than last year. Come on. Their offense was there, but their defense was absolute trash. Ben Bishop's going to help them. I think their decoy is going to get much better this year. But one team ahead of them has everything basically ahead of them except for their offense. The Nashville Predators. I've never seen a team as deep as Nashville on D. Ekholm, Ellis, Yossi, PK. You gain Alexei Emelin. You also have Weber and Irwin. I should have said they did. But even though their centers are not that great, even though they signed Nick Bonino, who in my opinion is the 3rd line and a 2nd line center, you saw Sisson, John Krok. This team still has a bunch of weapons on the forward side of the puck. On the offensive side of the puck, not the forward side of the puck. I can't talk today. But Nashville, in my opinion, is going to win that Central Division. Now, time for the Atlantic. Let me do what I did before, then I'll get back to you. So there's the bottom 5. If you have a problem with it, just tell me. Number 3, in my opinion, this year, the Ottawa Senators. everyone, including me, doubted that this team would make the playoffs last year. They were one goal away from going to the Cup final. So, for that reason, I gained a lot more respect for them. They lost my thought, but they had this guy named Thomas Chabot that I think could step in the lineup right away. He could be a very good defenseman for them. And their team is basically the same as last year. And the Atlantic is kind of like, it's weird to say it's competitive, but it's not the good competitive. But that's why I have Ottawa at 3. I still think they could have a really good run this year. Number 2, Maple Leafs. At the beginning of last year, I was like, this team's going to finish dead last. This team is not going to do good with all these rookies. They're going to lose a lot of games. They made the playoffs and almost unseated. Yeah, they almost unseated them, but I think with all these rookies gaining another year of experience, I think the signing of Patrick Marleau is tremendously helpful to this team. And man, Frederik Andersen is a hell of a goalie. He's going to help the Maple Leafs do so good this year. And at number 1, if they don't get any injuries, if this team does not get any injuries, no one's stopping them. You have Kucherov, you have Stamkos, you have Palat, Johnson, Point, Hedman, Sergachev now, Strawman, Dotchin, Andre Vasilevsky. It could be lights out. You have Nemestikov. I mean, seriously. This team is loaded on all sides of the game. Goaltending, defense, and on the forwards. I don't see how any team stops them in the Atlantic. Unless Stamkos gets injured again. But even if he still gets injured, I don't see how they miss the playoffs again. Their team's just way too deep. Like, the reason why they missed the playoffs last year, you mean Kucherov, Palat, Johnson, Stamkos. All those guys were injured, and now they're all healthy. Watch out. Okay, now time for the Metro. Let me do the same thing. So there's my bottom 5 for the Metro. In my opinion, the Metro is the best division by far. All these teams in the division could possibly make the playoffs. That's how good they are. Every team in this division basically improved. Except for this one. Okay. And maybe except for some other teams. But starting off with the 3rd team. Columbus Blue Jackets. I watched a lot of prediction videos and said Columbus would miss the playoffs. And I don't think there's any more. Yeah, Columbus had that big winning streak. Bobrovsky is either have a good year or he's going to have a bad year. No. You replace Saad with Panarin, which I think could be huge for this team. Panarin is so talented. And you still have guys like Dubinsky, Foligno, Bjorkstrand. You're gaining guys like Milano. You still have Bobrovsky. Your decor is very good. Werenski, Jones, Johnson, Savard. I don't see how this team finishes below 3rd. They could possibly finish higher. But, let me tell you, they're not going to get 3rd by much. These teams are going to be right on their ass. Except for maybe New Jersey. Number 2. Yeah, the Washington Capitals. I am not going to put them at number 1. I'm sorry. I am a big fan of them, but there's no way. They lost so much. They lost Mojo. They lost Alsner, thank God. They lost Shattenkirk, thank God. They re-signed TJ Oshie, good. They re-signed Kuznetsov for a lot of money, but we needed him back. I just don't see how this team beats the team in this division. They'll still be a good team. I was like, they're going to suck. They are definitely not going to suck. They're not going to win the President's Trophy this year, but they're still going to be a good team. Number 1, the team the Capitals can't seem to beat, the Pittsburgh Penguins. I just don't see how any of these teams are better than Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh, you have Crosby, Malkin, Kessel, Hornquist, Gensel, Dumoulin, Dutain. Now Murray's going to be a full-time starter. I still think Pittsburgh, it's going to still be close, but I think Pittsburgh, they really win this division because I don't think there's any team that competes with their top 2 centers. There's nobody. if they get a third line center, ooh, they're going to be a much better team. But as of right now, I still have them winning the Metro. So I have a lot of explaining to do because I think some of you are going to get pissed off with these. We're going to start off with this. The New York Islanders, I love that they added Jordan Eberle. They need to still sign Calvin DeHaan, but I'm pretty sure they will. This team is a really good team. But in my opinion, all those teams are better than them. If this was possibly what NHL did before and went with the 8 best teams, I could possibly see 17 for the Metro and Tampa making it. Oops. Tampa making it. Because I actually think the Islanders have a better record than the Maple Leafs. I mean, this division is just so tight. I don't see how this team makes the playoffs. And the same with the Rangers. I mean, Shattenkirk, you have to listen to me, Rangers fans. Shattenkirk was great on the power play. Sure, he fed Ovechkin perfect passes most of the time, but this guy is terrible in his own end. It's like I get mad at him so much during the playoffs on how bad he was. I mean, he's going to be good for you guys. I think he'll step up his game when he plays for you guys, but man, Brendan Smith is good to add too, but I just don't see how they're better than the Hurricanes next year. The Hurricanes, you add Williams, you have all your talent. This team almost made the playoffs last year. You add Scott Darling, who could be a very good, like the next Cam Talbot. That's what I'm thinking of him. And the same thing with Antti Raanta, where we're getting off topic. But I just don't see how the 3 New York division teams make the playoffs. Okay, so nothing really bad here but here. Minnesota should have finished here if they didn't choke away. But if you get the Devin Dubnyk that was in the last half of the season, forget about it. They're not making the playoffs. But if you get the Devin Dubnyk that was in the first half of the regular season, I would see them up here again. But the Central, again, is so tough. Winnipeg, I don't think there's any way they miss the playoffs with the high caliber offense they have. Chicago, there's never a way they miss the playoffs ever. St. Louis, they barely decreased in anything. They gained Braden Shen. You still have Jake Allen. Dallas got better by a lot. And Nashville, I don't see how they miss the playoffs after going to the Cup final and with that decor. And the last one you guys probably think is crazy is this one, and this one, and this one. The reason why I have LA this low, I mean, other side of Carter, Kopitar, Pearson, Toffoli, and Doughty, they're not that good. I mean, you have Quick, of course, but let's assume Quick stays healthy. I don't see them being better than San Jose. Everyone's underrating the Coyotes, and I'm like, why? They have all these rookies. They remind me of Toronto of last year. The second-year rookies like Nylander, like Dvorak. I mean, this team is so stacked with young talent. I mean, it might be still too young for them, but you still have Oliver Ekman-Larsson. Antti Raanta, like I said, could become a Cam Talbot type of like trade. And you gain Derek Stepan and Nicholas Johnson. I mean, I don't see how this team is worse than San Jose or LA. San Jose lost Marlowe, and that hurts.